Welcome to another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Wade Teamer. Listen, XLM is about to drop something major on us. I got a huge XLM update for you in this episode. Before we get to that, though, I got to ask for your help. You may not know, but on the other side of this camera is my bedroom, and I'm looking to change that. Me and my team have found a location that will help that dream become a reality. Guys, under this video, I'll leave a link to a GoFundMe campaign. I'm looking to raise $2,500 by the end of September, but preferably we would like to have it by September 1st. We aren't the only ones trying to get this location. Now, on the GoFundMe page, there will be more details. There'll be photos of the location so that way you can look at it in detail. This thing has 7 suites, a full bathroom, and a kitchen, full parking lot on both sides. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity to create an entrepreneurial hub. Okay, this goes a little bit beyond crypto. So whatever you can contribute, of course, my team and I will be grateful. Again, the link will be under this video in the pinned comment. So with that out of the way, guys, I may post a little smaller video a little bit later in the day. I've also posted a link in the community tab as well. So check those out when you get the chance. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into this first update, ladies and gentlemen. XLM has partnered with Near Protocol. Did not see this coming, but we do live in a multi-chain world, and networks like Stellar love to do multi-chain things. The details of this partnership, they look to enable cross-chain transfers of the almighty USDC stablecoin. They will utilize what is called near intents. Now, I don't know that much about Near Protocol, but this is a multi-chain tool that connects multiple blockchains, and it also incorporates AI into the mix. Now, I don't study Near Protocol a lot, but when they do pop up in my social feeds, it is related to AI. They made that push. I do remember that push starting early 2024. Okay? Near, it's not a project you should sleep on. I will tell you that. This is a high-level integration into a trusted DeFi protocol. And specifically, it'll be the wallets that will be integrated, which is very key because when we see developments like this, it shows us exactly where Stellar's position is in the market. Many people coming to Stellar began holding Stellar, expecting XLM to be adopted and used itself. No, this is a different game we're playing over here. When we're talking XLM, we're talking about a service layer, a wallet layer, a issuance layer. Stellar is like Ethereum in the sense that you can issue or tokenize assets that are going to be specifically used in financial instruments, only for financial instruments. Danielle Dixon was at the blockchain symposium in Wyoming, right? Now, remember, I brought that up when they launched their stablecoin on Avalanche. Stellar may be involved somehow. We'll get to that later. But she spoke about how a lot of people talk about creating multi-chain financial tools. But what we've seen to this point are gatekeepers who create networks with multiple prongs just to suck value or trap value, as she described it, in and trap users in, while overlooking the potential benefits that some of these other chains may have that your users may be looking for. In order to avoid that from continuing to happen, we need to see developments like this. It reminds me as well of Stellar's integration into Axlar. It'll be a lot similar. The difference is that I do know Near Protocol's customer base is a bit more enterprise institutional. So, and again, the wallets will be the core component of this relationship, and it'll allow users to swap any assets without bridges. Now, that made my eyebrows jump because I was in this space in 2022. I was here for Terra Luna. Some of you guys remember that. And you'll also remember bridges being a major problem during that time because we couldn't verify who controlled the bridge and where the bridge was going. So it's good to see the market moving away from bridges. Good news on the DeFi landscape for Stellar, guys. And don't forget, with Soraban now here, it increases the likelihood of more DeFi applications coming to the Stellar network. So with that, let's jump forward, guys. You guys remember the United Nations, right? So XLM has joined up with the United Nations Development Program SDG Blockchain Accelerator. What is SDG? We're talking Sustainable Development Goals, ladies and gentlemen. It has reared its ugly head. I mean, it is 5 years away. If you don't know about these goals, I'll break them down to you in just a second, but let me give you the rest of these details. So the SDF will contribute expertise and help bring blockchain applications related to the SDG goals to life. Applications will include climate finance, energy access, social protection, healthcare, and supply chain transparency. I myself would be interested in seeing some supply chain apps on Stellar. Sound crazy? Think about it for a second. Let's just say Home Depot wants to set up an asset issuance platform in order to simplify the bill of lading process or the trade finance process. I know we recognize, at least we did, XDC as the king of that realm. But the deeper I get into Stellar, the more I understand just how flexible that token issuance, asset issuance side really is. So, but the SDG goals, guys, for 2030, they were created back in 2015 by the United Nations, and it's simply a plan to improve the world. Now, there are 17, let me double check here. Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. But I want to make sure I give you the correct 17. Yes. And Stellar's mission to provide open access lines up with a number of those. For example, ending poverty, financial inclusion, the improvement of cities and sustainable living situations. Again, that's another subject that you really gotta Google for about an hour and you'll get a deeper understanding of it. I theorized a couple years ago about a particular group of assets that were hyper focused on achieving these goals by 2030. It was a very common trend a couple years ago. VeChain talked a lot about it. Hedera, Algorand, Ripple for a minute. They even had the badge on their website. Strange how so many of those networks have since removed those, but Stellar hasn't stopped kicking. And I think this is definitely a result of the work they have already done with the UNHCR. So to dig a little bit deeper, this blockchain accelerator, it looks to have a product on the market by 2026. According to their roadmap, between September and January, 30 teams will participate in a 4-month course to get their blockchain solutions ready for the market. All that means is in 2026, we could hear an announcement of a brand new application geared at one of those use cases: climate finance, energy access, healthcare, supply chain, running on Stellar. That is a pattern I'm observing, that when it comes to applications that are focused on a large scale, we're not just talking about a DeFi community or a meme token or something like that, but large scale applications. This is the process that they go through. It's a collaborative effort. These hackathons, these blockchain workshops, these accelerators are often what bring us the applications and all of the other features that we see today. So I'm excited to hear that. I'm excited to read that. I was excited when I read it this morning, guys. I've been doing some digging into my analytics on the channel, and it can no longer be disputed. This is an XLM channel. It always has been. It's an XLM channel, and I'm okay with that. I read a comment the other day. You guys said that I said XLM was dead. Are you serious? I would never utter such nonsense, guys. Come on now. When my first 15 videos, 7 of them were Stellar. Stellar IBM Worldwire. Yeah, I was the first one on that. Okay. Stellar and CBDC, Stellar. Let me stop, guys. But let me move on to Stellar in Africa, specifically Stellar in South Africa. I told you guys I would touch up on this story. I had hinted at it in a previous episode. I called it Zcoin. The correct name is Zark. All right. Need to get my things in order. But Zark Coin will be launching on the XLM network. This is a South African rand pegged to the XLM network. Now, the wording there makes this seem like this is backed by the XLM network. Let me clarify. This is a stable coin that is 1-to-1 backed by the South African rand, which is the primary currency in South Africa. It's TD Market Exchange, which is an award-winning trading platform in South Africa. They collaborated with Shift Markets to bring the stablecoin to XLM. The Zark coin is a yield-bearing stablecoin designed to power cross-border remittances and global payouts. Global payouts, that's very interesting. More interesting is the fact that yield-bearing stablecoins are a growing trend, at least internationally. The Genius Act, when it passed here in the United States, actually removed yield-bearing stablecoins from any oversight. So that technically means they may or may not be cleared, that they could fall under the guise of a security steal. If a stablecoin is offering you yield here in the United States, then that does act like a fiat currency. It acts like a fiat transaction. So we need more details on that. But internationally, in places like Africa, the UAE, and in the Asian markets, we are starting to see more yield-bearing stablecoins. Further evidence that the stablecoin is the new fiat. Can't get around that, guys. But what stood out to me was this payout, global payout feature. TDME and Shift Markets have merchant tools that support payroll and other merchant services. I immediately thought of the Stellar and Zabek relationship. I believe I told you guys in the original Zabek episode that payroll on blockchain wasn't nothing new. That's why I felt a certain way when the founder of Zabek said, hey, we're the first to ever do this. Request Network, check your email because they got some words for y'all, Zabek. Now I'm reading Stellar has the capability to do payroll on its own. So those details raise a different conversation that we can definitely have later. But this payroll feature provided by TDME and Shift Markets is especially impactful because South Africa's crypto environment is very crypto favorable. In 2022, they were the first to classify crypto assets as financial products. And as of this year, they've issued over 230 licenses, crypto asset service provider licenses in South Africa. So this means there are exchanges, fintechs, several other blockchain, independent blockchain companies that now have the legal clearance to operate and build on the Stellar network, with Stellar being one of the few networks that really pop up in Africa, gives them an advantage. Another advantage, and you know, we can't finish a conversation about Stellar without bringing up its anchors. There are 15 in South Africa alone. That includes names like Flutterwave, Yellow Card, and Crypto.com. So, with all of that in place for the XLM network, we can clearly see that something major is cooking. Now, in the short term, prices may not be favorable, but you guys know our game is more aimed at the long-term outcome here. So with that, that's all I got for you in this one. Again, don't forget, guys, we're running this GoFundMe campaign. We're looking to expand into a new location to improve the production. I want to make more engaging crypto content for you as well as newcomers to this space. We also have the opportunity, once we get the spot, to interview industry figures, and that will just take this whole platform to the next level. Imagine if we could get Daniil Dixon in the studio, man. Come on, help me out. Hit the link under this video, and always remember, if that money is digital, so is the hustle.